Hello web design team, you have made it to the end. You're about to turn in your final project and you should know how to do this, but I'm just going to go back and review how to grab what you need to submit in either platform. So you've either hosted this remotely using a hosting company such as GoDaddy. You could be using GoDaddy, HostGator, HostPapa, ServerCow, Bluehost. Any of these will have similar control panels. So my demo is going to be inside GoDaddy, but you would have similar control panels. I'm actually going to start with that because more students lately in my course have been hosting it remotely than doing it with XAMPP. And then at the end, I'll go back and review the XAMPP method really quick. They're both very, very similar. So if you're hosted with GoDaddy, here's how to submit your final project. Go to GoDaddy.com and log in. Unless you actually know your control panel username and password, you go right to the main domain, log in. I've already done that in a student's account, so I'm going to demo this using a student account. So log in, then go to visit my account, or it will have taken you here as soon as you log in, and you want to go to web hosting. Okay, so you want to get to your control panel. Click manage. This is going to be a pretty quick video, so if you miss anything that I do, just stop it, pause it, go back and watch it again. Remember, it's a video. Click manage. So this particular student has the Economy Linux hosting cPanel, just like I taught you guys to set up. I know a lot of you have similar control panels, similar hosting packages with other companies. I advised you that you must set up your WordPress site using the control panel with Linux hosting so that you have direct access to PHP MyAdmin right here. So I'm assuming you set up WordPress as a web application, which means you should be able to go right to PHP MyAdmin, which you may not have your modules in the control panel for your hosting company in the same order, but somewhere you'll get to PHP MyAdmin. Click on it. Okay, now this is going to look very, very similar to what we learned in XAMPP, as this has been demoed in a variety of lectures. So you get to PHP MyAdmin. First place you're going to go is databases. Now, as you know, this is just like when you finish your test. You need to hit the export button, but it is extremely crucial that you do not hit the export button until you are in the right place. You can export from pretty much anywhere in a PHP MyAdmin dashboard area, but you have to have the database tables up and running. Get out of here, window thing. So click on databases. You must do it this way. Click on the database itself, and only then can you hit export. If you hit export at any other time, you won't be exporting the correct thing. So the way you'll know if you exported it properly is the export file will have that big long name that the database had. So in GoDaddy, you have even less options than you have in XAMPP. You just go right to the bottom. Don't mess with anything. Go right to the bottom, hit go. Put it wherever it is that you're going to be putting it. In this case, I'll just throw mine in downloads. So this is the name of the database that I saw on the database screen. That is correct. If you see something like localhost or XAMPP.sql, or you can hit the export button from any screen in PHP MyAdmin. If it's anything but the name of the database, you're doing it wrong. Go back, watch my instructions, do it the right way. Save your file, and that is the number one thing you need to submit. That's the main thing that I have to have. Okay, now you got to submit all the things, but that's the main thing. So put it into downloads. Okay, so once you get it downloaded, you're done with this screen. You can go right to the folder where you downloaded it. I've already gone there, sitting right here. Go to FOL, that's the first file you put in your Dropbox. Stop zipping that up, please. You don't need to zip the SQL file. You don't need to open it and look at it. It's a big ton of text. It's your entire database. Just submit it. That's the first thing you submit, okay? Done. You've submitted your database. Second thing you submit, you can get out of PHP MyAdmin. You need to go back to the control panel, okay? So I'm in my GoDaddy cPanel, or your similarly looking control panel from whatever hosting company you're using. You need to get to the file manager. Sometimes it's over here on the left. You might have to search for it on the screen, but it should be somewhere. So this is without you having to do this via FTP. Every control panel with a reputable hosting company will have a file manager. Go to the web root. Don't go to one of these other places. Go to web root. Click go. And unless you have multiple sites, which you should not, okay, what you'll see in here is the entire site. Okay, so you can just grab. You actually don't need that first folder. If you see that folder, you don't have to highlight it. You start with WP admin, and you grab everything below that that's included in the WordPress site. So I did that by just holding the shift key down and using my arrow. Not sure what that would be on a Mac, but you can't do control all because you're in their version of the control. But just get them all highlighted. So I'm shift arrowing down. You don't need that one. If it is inside a folder, you need to get inside the folder and get them all highlighted. Okay. Once you get them highlighted, there should be a compress button. If your monitor resolution is tighter, it might be down onto the next row. You hit compress and then you wait. Okay, so choose zip first, compress files, and then wait. So what this is doing is zipping up your entire root directory, and this is the second thing you submit. So I'm just going to pause the video while it's compressing. It might take 30 seconds. Well, that was pretty fast, actually. I don't have to pause. So you can close the window. It compressed everything. Whatever the first thing was you highlighted will be the name of the compressed file. Okay, so it's right here. See, that's how it names a zip. It picks up the first thing you highlight, and that's you can leave it named that. I don't actually care. It would be better if you renamed it, but first thing you got to do now is get this onto your computer so you can put it in the FOL Dropbox. So once you zip that up, you download it. You sit on it, just click download. I'm going to throw that into the same folder for me, downloads. Okay, it looks like it's going fairly fast. There might be some bigger files in there. This could take 10 minutes at home. I'm on campus, it's pretty fast. Looks like it's going to be less than a minute, so I'll just pause quickly here and then come back. The download is complete now, and you can see here it's named WP Admin, and as I explained, that's because that was the name of the top level folder you highlighted. So you need to start with WP Admin, go all the way down, pick everything up, compress it, download the compressed version, and then once it's on your computer, you can rename it if you want. You can even call it root-directory or whatever the name of your site is. That doesn't really matter. What matters is what's inside of it. If you click into the compressed folder, you'll see the contents match what you would have in a WordPress site, so that is the second thing you submit. Okay, so and then the third thing you submit, which doesn't necessarily even require a file, would be your credentials. So the login, username, and password that you would use to access your site at whatever it is, /wp-login.php. What is the login? Once you do this, by the way, I would go back and remove this. You don't need that big zip folder sitting around in there, so you can go back and delete it, just clean it up. And you can permanently delete, skip to the trash and permanently delete. Then you've cleaned up your folder, and then you're done. You got those two things, you submit them. So that's remote hosting. If it's hosted locally with XAMPP, it's even simpler and even quicker. You would go to localhost, which is your XAMPP. If you're on 8080, you go to localhost-8080. And from here, we know where we go. We go to PHP MyAdmin, and it's going to look very similar to the PHP MyAdmin we were just at with GoDaddy. You go to databases, you click on the database, you go to exports. Do not hit export yet. Go to databases, click on the database. I'm going to use this one as my sample here. That's my demo site. Hit export. That's the first thing I need. Okay, then with XAMPP, your root directories even, and it's very similar. You hit export. There's a few more options on the screen here, but you just like with GoDaddy, you ignore them. You go right here and you click go. You just click go. It downloads an SQL file. Should be named the database name. That's the first thing you put in FOL. Next thing, and remember, you obviously have to have your XAMPP up and running for that to work, which I did. So I can stop my XAMPP now. I got database. I always turn my XAMPP off when I'm not using it. Stop. Wow, it's taking a while. Okay, let's just go into the folder I need to go to. So in your C drive here, because we're remote, or we're local, sorry, we don't have to go finding this. Go into htdocs. You saw where I went. I know I'm doing this fast, but this should be just, you should be super comfortable with this. I just did this demo for a class. I'm going to delete that really quick. Go to the root directory that it is that you're using. That is your final project. Right click. Send to compress zip or compress however you compress on a Mac. All of these instructions are in FOL content for you back when we did the test. It might take a minute or two, but once it's compressed, that is the second thing you submit with your final project. And then the third thing you submit are your credentials. So I didn't really explain this in full at the end of the GoDaddy portion. Your credentials can be saved in a text or a Word file, or as you're submitting in the FOL Dropbox, you can just put them right into the little, there's a field where you can put notes. You can put notes to your professor. You can put the credentials right in there. So minimum, you need these two files submitted, and then however you choose to submit the credentials, your login, username, and password is fine. And that's how you submit your final project. All done. If you missed anything, just go back and watch the video again. I'm just going to wait till this one finishes zipping so you can see it's just going to, same thing as the last one. Whatever you clicked on to zip is what it's going to name it. This will probably have a proper root directory name, as you can see there. So, and then you submit it to the Dropbox. You can delete it once you're done. You don't need to keep it around. You have the whole thing sitting here. So you're done to ready to go. And just make sure you do it on time. If it's late, it's late. You'll lose marks. You know that. You know how I am. Thanks for watching. Get it done.